Yeah, how's it going, guys? It's Richie Unicorn Caller here, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. We are back with, surprisingly, another Wizard101 video. This was like the first time I've logged in a while. As you guys know, I've been playing a lot of Fusion Fall, and thought I would never make a video talking about the spell teasers lately, but I saw the life spell teasers, man, and of course, you guys know I'm a life wizard, and I saw it, and I was like, what is going on? First things first, make sure to check out Genevieve Moon Garden because she did the magic weaving stuff, and also make sure to check out Blaze Lifehammer because he did the shadow enhanced spell teasers and a bunch of other spellment paths that are getting a few changes here and there, which are pretty interesting and which we're going to talk about in yeah, figure out because yeah, it is it's a lot, man. I was trying so hard not to log in, and I was like, ooh, man, I'm really about to crash out now. We might have to bring back Richard Crash Out Caller. But this is what Wings of Fate is currently in game. Now, do keep in mind that even with all of these teasers that we see, you know, there's always sometimes that some things change or something might not go right, you know. So, you know, take all these teasers and anything you see on test round, take it with a grain of salt because, you know, there's always changes. And quite honestly, I can't even keep up with all these spell changes that they do, like, constantly. But at least I don't have to farm for spellments because most of these I am definitely not gonna farm for. But over here, this is what Wings of Fate looks like now. You know, we'll place 3 damage overtimes on all the enemies. It's an AoE, and it will place a heal overtime for 5 rounds on all of your allies. Right? It costs 6 pips. It takes a shadow pip. But you can't use it in PvE or not PvP, PvP. My bad. You can't use it in advanced combat, right? So you would have to upgrade to the tier 2 one, which is basically 2 shadow pips, right? The same spell, but it takes 2 shadow pips. And new one, so this is actually, oh, my bad. This is actually the OG Wings of Fate. It will place a damage over time and a heal over time on all your allies for 3 rounds, which is pretty cool, right? And then you can upgrade the top path. But the problem with the top path is that it is only going to increase the damage. It's not going to actually increase the heal overtime. The heal overtime will remain the same, but the damage itself will slightly increase, which I don't really think anybody really needs to farm for spellments, especially for slight damage increases unless you want to be a perfectionist, but you really don't need it. But the bottom path is also pretty interesting, or you know, something that really raised my eyebrow a little bit. So there's actually a divide spell now, and basically you can split a damage over time, or at least a bomb perhaps, on an enemy or multiple enemies, however you want to select it. Basically, that will place 2 of those for 4 rounds, and you'll also have a heal overtime placed on yourself for basically 1,020 heal overtime, which might be dependent on whoever you're splitting that up to. You remember about the divide spells. Whenever you divide it, the damage or whatever the effects will get a little bit lower. So I think a lot of people think that bottom path will put a heal overtime on all of your allies. There's no indication on the card that it's going to put that on all of your allies. I believe that the heal overtime is just going to be on yourself only, which definitely is like, you know, another spell I wanted to farm spellments for. As much as I love the Wings of Fate and I would just love to give it a chance, I just don't need it. This might be good if, of course, if you're doing advanced combat or advanced content, but I will leave that up to your own opinions in the comments. I mean, what do you the guys think? Are you guys gonna farm for this? I think the only main gripe I have about all of these new spellment paths and new spellment updates is that I kind of wish that, like, beforehand there was already a way to get these spellments. I kind of wish, like, it was already there and not now, because now you gotta farm for these spellments, and you know, it's a whole process, and you know, getting 75 spellments is never too easy, especially for a specific spell. So again, that's probably going to be a spell I just won't have to worry about. Version, of course, and again, these are teasers. It's not like I wouldn't confirm it or deny it, but this is basically what the new one is going to be like. So you do top path, is going to be basically a similar version of that, except it's going to have 2 additional paths, or at least 2 different tiers. You have tier 4, tier 5. So it's going to increase that damage, and it's still going to be at 8 pips max. So bottom path is, again, a divide spell, but it's still only going to take 1 shadow pip. So, again, you can figure that out on yourself. They increased the blade by 5%, which is pretty decent. And, again, if you keep upgrading the bottom path, it will basically increase the damage. So, again, keep that in mind and have fun. For me, I'm probably just going to max out the top path because, again, I love my damage. And I don't do advanced content, though. You know, with some of these bottom paths, you can definitely use them in traditional PvE, but, like, I feel like for some players, it will definitely be on their, like, preference of play style. Some of these might be useful for you in the future. For me, personally, I just don't think, for me, it's just not worth the hassle, you know? I don't want to farm. But this is what it looks like right now, or at least in the teaser. So, top path is going to be a divide, and that's the more traditional divide. And then bottom path is actually very interesting because it also is, yet again, a divide. It's going to do a base of 315, and it's also going to give you that plus 45% damage increase to life attacks for 4 rounds. So that's a pretty nice aura. And I think Blaze also mentioned that it's better than Frenzy, which Frenzy, I believe, is only like at like a 40%. So bottom path for that is definitely pretty cool. It's just a matter of time to see like where to actually farm these spellments at. And do keep in mind though that these are actually 4 pips. So 4 pips, 1 shadow pip, and you're good to go. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. I mean, this one I still wouldn't farm for though. I'm still just gonna do top path or just not really bother farming with it because like I said, I just don't do advanced content anymore. But I think that one will definitely be interesting for a few life wizards. But like I said, it will depend on how you guys feel about in the comments, you know, especially if you're a life wizard. Alright, the next one is a Scion of Life, which actually does not have a spellment path. It's my memory correct? Does it? No. No. Scion of Life has never had, you know, it probably would have been great if it did have a spellment path because probably one of, and I say this every day, one of the, possibly one of the worst, and you know, I think it actually is the worst healing spell in the entire game. If you guys were there, you know. This came out literally, oh my gosh, it's been so many years. This came out such a long time ago. Dude, when this came out, you gotta justify yourself for melting down 11 pips for a heal. And to do that double condition, the target has to have 25% or less health to restore, like, more health. Yeah, dude. All I'm gonna say is that I will usually rarely ever use this spell for healing. You will never catch me with this spell in my deck unless I'm just like not doing anything productive. Like this is one of the, I really wish they would rework this spell. It's terrible. It's one of the worst, and I'm a life wizard. I played this game for years. That is like by far grotesque. So this is basically what the upgrade is. So again, it's going to have its own spellment path, which is nice. Top path is going to increase the healing, you know, obviously. It would be nice to just lower the pip cost, but it's whatever. But bottom path is actually pretty interesting. And it's actually going to lower the pip cost. So now it's 7 pips. And this is at 810 base. And then basically a bomb, like it's going to put on 2 damage over times. And then it's going to put on extra damage if you have 3 plus healing overtimes. So if you have healing overtimes on yourself and you use a spell, it will basically do damage. You're basically doing a type of like HOT type of gambit, which is pretty nice. It definitely makes Scion of Life a nice spell. But again, probably not going to farm spellments for it. I don't know. I still wouldn't use it. I still just would not use that spell. I could use any of the other previous spells. But in my opinion, I don't think it's worth it. But hey, like I said, to each their own. To each their own. Now, the next one is Grenadier, one of my favorite spells. I love Grenadier. And that actually has a spellment path. Thank goodness. And as you can see, I have a lot I have a lot of these spellments. The thing is, like I said, I do team ups a lot. I help people in the cavity chamber boss because a lot of people don't do team ups anymore and they don't help these poor wizards out. So sometimes when I feel like it, I help them out. It's really cool. But this is basically what it is. Top path, nice chunk of damage, and you can actually pacify yourself for 3 rounds. If you guys don't know, pacify means that the enemy cannot target you unless they use an AoE. They can't use any like single attack or single target spells on you for 3 rounds. Bottom path is pretty similar damage in a sense, but again, it would take 2 shadow pips, and you can also detonate a damage overtime on an enemy, and you can actually activate a heal overtime on yourself. So, pretty interesting stuff. So, over here, the new version, or at least in the teaser, is that Top Path is gonna basically get 2 more tiers, Tier 4 and Tier 5, which I will definitely be maxing out because I have those spellments. And then Bottom Path, it will take 1 Shadow Pip, 5 pips, and it will do a base of 455 life damage, and it can actually activate 2 heal overtimes for 115%, which is really nice. But still, I probably won't do Bottom Path just because I'm never really in a situation where I'm using the spell and I have to activate the 2 heal overtimes. This might be good for, again, advanced combat, because remember, the top path, usually top path for a lot of stuff is banned, so you can't actually use that. So, I mean, it's up, I don't know. It's not too bad. I don't know. I mean, it's up to your own preference. Sorry about that. For some reason, everybody starts calling me whenever I make a YouTube video. But now we're on to our next spell, which, guys, I don't know, man. This one is kind of rough. It's an old spell, that's your first hint, but, man, this one's kind of rough, and I'm definitely not so happy about it. So, going over here, we got Hungry Caterpillar, which is, where is Hungry Caterpillar at? Am I blind? It's right here. So, this is currently Hungry Caterpillar, right? 790 through 910 damage, and it gives you a heal overtime. It used to have an absorb shield, right? And it's banned from PvP, right? If you wanted to, use it, you gotta get 2 shadow pips for it. So now here is the, again, teaser, which, again, it's like work in progress. They change these spells constantly. It might get changed. So, yeah. So this is basically what's gonna happen. It's still gonna have just 1 branch in the spell writing. And you can basically convert it to a single shadow pip spell. Like, you only get 1 shadow pip for it, 5 pips. And this one's crazy. The damage is actually decreased. So now it's at 390. And you'll basically get 2 heal overtimes that are at 1,000 for 4 rounds. And yeah, guys, I don't know, man. This one is like, I don't know. I'm still not gonna use it, and I'm still not farming the spellments. And I noticed something with this game lately. They want players to really like engage with this game. They want players to farm for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And I've gotten to the point where I did 105 challenge mode badges, or not the badges, but I did 105 challenge mode matches, and that took a big toll on me. Not only that, but then you think about, now you gotta farm spellments. Now you gotta farm for gear every 10 levels. And it kind of gets to that point where I'm gonna see a spell like this, and then I'm gonna be like, well, is it really worth farming for it? Luckily, at least in the teaser video, it only shows like 1 spellment, so you only need like 1 spellment. Like, that's nothing. But again, are you willing to put in that time and energy, or just in general, are you willing to convert your Hungry Caterpillar and literally get that low of a damage? Even if you enchant that, it's only get up to like 600 or something. So I don't know. or at least 690. I don't know. I don't think that one's a good one. And Blaze does a great job mentioning it in his video. That's why I recommend you watch him instead of me, because I jump around a lot. He does a great job and actually shows another picture talking about what they should do is just add a separate branch that basically has the OG Hungry Caterpillar. As you guys know, this is what the OG was, 950 to 1,000, up to 1,000 damage. And it gives you an absorb shield of 800. It was such a fun spell to use back in the day, and it was great. But then they removed the absorb shield, and then they lowered the damage. And you know, it became a hassle. I honestly would use Hungry Caterpillar if they added a original top path. I would do that. You know? I don't care, and I don't care about the heal over times, the dots. Like, I don't care about any of that stuff. I would love to have the OG Hungry Caterpillars. I would love that. But that's up for the devs to decide. If they decide that, like, literally, I think they could do it. Just ban it from PvP. That's all you gotta do. Just ban it from PvP. It's obviously overpowered, so just ban it in PvP. Or just add 2 separate paths, or even 3 separate paths. But I don't know. For me, y'all, with all these spellments, man, it is a very hard pass for me. And I played this game for a couple of years, and it's not that I'm totally against advanced content. I have used so many spells in advanced combat. Look, Pigsy Bottom Path is amazing. I love Pigsy Bottom Path. And we already talked about the Rebirth Bottom Path, which is also amazing. If you've seen some of my challenge mode videos, I've used these spells before. Look, Toilet Bottom Path. This is amazing. I love spellments, and I love bottom path stuff. And I love the gambits, but the problem is, if it's not like a spell that I actually want to like commit to, or that I deem that's not really worthy alongside you guys, then I'm not gonna waste my time farming spellments, you know. And that's just my personal opinion, right? I don't want anybody to be like, "Oh, Richard, you're just so negative." I'm sorry. I honestly wasn't supposed to. I wasn't supposed to make a video on any of the spell teasers. But I saw that and I was like, what is going on? So I just wanted to get my points across. Hey, maybe some of y'all out there like it. Personally, for me, I'm not going to waste my time with it. But hey, maybe y'all like it. I don't. Until then, I will see you guys later. I'm going to go play Fusion Fall now. Alright. That game actually, like, I love that game. It actually appreciates the time that I put into it. Like, I feel like my time is more appreciated on Fusion Fall rather than Wiz. I already did my time. Alright, look at the outfit. Look at the outfit. Look, I did my time. I'm just saying, I did my time. It's time for everybody to do their time. I'm good. Even if the Portal Apparel came back, which it will eventually, but, you know, even when that event comes back, I still probably just wouldn't farm it. I don't know. It's just, I don't know if it's a mixture of burnout or just not wanting to commit fully to it. I would have to see some different spells, man. I would have to definitely see some changes. But we'll see what happens in the future. And like I said, these are all teasers. So a lot of things can change. Alright? But until then, I will see you guys later. Peace out.